You know, I appreciate how all these servers try to recreate Disney, but the one thing they don't recreate is waiting in all of these crazy lines. I wish the Magic Kingdom was this empty. Hello everybody and welcome to A Day in the Parks, the series where I just sort of wander around one of the many Disney recreation servers on Minecraft and talk about Disney and just what's going on in the world of Disney and what I'm thinking about in the world of Disney. Today we're here on MC Parks, who, if I'm correct, recently opened a new version of the Magic Kingdom over in Walt Disney World. Of course, this server offers many different theme parks, not just Disney World, but Disneyland, and then I believe Universal. But we're going to check out Disney World's Magic Kingdom, not only because it's, pretty new on the server, but also because I was just there recently. Just about a week ago, I guess, or a week and a half from the time you're watching this. I was over there for a summer trip, and so, I'm starting to feel that withdrawal, and I guess I want to relive some of it. So I figured we'd walk around and talk a little bit about Disney. Now, I did explore this a little bit last night. So there were some things I really liked. I like that they do the flag raising, because when I came here at night, the flag was down, but they actually do a morning and evening flag raising. I like how they have the little Roy Disney statue here with Minnie Mouse, which you could go see if you're actually at the real Magic Kingdom. And I really like that a lot, because if you don't know the story behind it, Walt was the figurehead of Disney. Obviously, it was, his company, and a lot of things came out of his imagination, and he came up with Disneyland, and he had planned Disney World, and Disney World was going to be such a big undertaking, but unfortunately he passed away really before they could get started on it at all. I think they started breaking ground, but that was about it. No, actually, I don't even think they were breaking ground at that point, because it was a couple of years before they really started it. In any case, he passed away. It really was pretty sudden and unfortunate, and at the time, his older brother Roy, who was sort of the business figurehead of the company, was planning to retire, but he decided that he would be it would take a Disney to see Walt's dreams come true. Why are there cows here? That's weird. Because it's like an MC Park thing? I don't know. In any case, Roy realized it would take a Disney to make his dream come true, so he postponed his retirement and made sure Phase 1 of the Disney World project, or as he chose to rename it, the Walt Disney World project, would be done. And it's sort of a really thankless job. When people think of Disney, they think of Walt. Not many people, especially when you think of the general crowds, even know that there was a Roy involved. And so I just love that there's a tribute to Roy there in the parks, because it really, for as much as we say it all took Walt to make this happen, it really took Roy to make Disney World happen. Otherwise, I know the company was looking at all sorts of other options, including just selling off all the land. They would have made a profit if they just sold it all. But he wanted to make sure his little brother's plans were in motion. Okay, so we're here in Tomorrowland. I just always naturally gravitate to Tomorrowland. It's my favorite place in the park. And I figured we could talk a little bit Disney news. So this isn't news so much as a rumor. I guess we'll walk over to Space Mountain. Yeah, let's go to Space Mountain. So now the latest rumor is that we're going to see an inside-out attraction at, I guess I should have been at Epcot for this. We're going to see an inside-out attraction at the Imagination Pavilion, and they're going to sort of evict Figment, and I guess what little left of Dreamfinder was in there. I mean, he wasn't in the attraction itself. And then we're getting a Guardians of the Galaxy's roller coaster at Ellen's Energy Adventure. And who knows how much of this is true and how much of it isn't, and when it's all going to happen. I mean, they're already paying a lot of money right now to put a lot of plans into action in terms of Star Wars Land and Toy Story Land, and then this rumored Marvel Land over in California. But I think it's pretty clear by these rumors that if they are true, Disney's clearly moving away from Future World being sort of a Disney-free experience and being more and more about Disney properties. I mean, we already see it a little bit with Nemo, and you got the Lion King in the land and stuff like that, but this is sort of heavy duty. And there's a lot of discussion and debate about that. A lot of people are upset. Epcot was sort of founded as being different from your typical Disney theme park. Let's see if we could hop on here. And Future World specifically was supposed to be sort of like a World's Fair about the future, whereas like World Showcase was about to be about the different nations. And I guess there's something unfortunate about that, but the more I think about it, and I used to be way in that camp of people who thought, this should be about the future, they should keep those themes going, but the more I think about it, the more it makes sense. I think it's unfortunate to say, but I think the theme and the approach of educating through Future World that we saw in Epcot in the 80s and 90s just isn't relevant anymore today. We have to recognize that technology has changed and we have changed with technology. Trying to teach somebody about science through Ellen's Energy Adventure is sort of hard to do today when you have a younger generation who's grown up with YouTube, who's grown up with sort of the attention span of YouTube and the sort of style of learning through that sort of media. And then you take something like Ellen's Energy Adventure, which is 45 minutes long or something. It's got, people who I grew up with, but from the 90s. Uh-oh, who's this? Oh no, watch out. Like Bill Nye, and I mean Ellen's still pretty relevant, but not so much as a comedian as a talk show host. And it's just, people joke about that ride being a nap ride, and they do it for a reason, which is it's just not that relevant anymore. And I don't think the answer is as simple as just replacing the actors and then keeping it a 45-minute ride about energy. I think really you need to do something different to educate through entertainment. And granted, a Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster, unless they do something really wildly different, is not going to do that either. But maybe it's about doing that in smaller bits and smaller, little sections of the park where you get to do that educating. And so my idea, and what I'm sort of coming around to, is this concept of the major rides in Future World being thrill rides and more about entertainment than education, and then really, really revamping innovations. Like really just do away with everything you've got there. And you know what? I know people probably love the character spot over on the other side, but get rid of that too. Make both sides innovations, west and east again, and really put a focus on educating through entertainment and through these like little booths and exhibits, and really take that area and make that the spiritual successor of the World's Fair. Because not only by making it smaller is it cheaper and easier to put into action. Ooh, I really like this effect here. But what it does is it allows Disney to update them more frequently, which is really the problem that gets run into when you look at things like Future World and Tomorrowland, which is these are parts of the park that were originally supposed to be about the future. The problem is when you develop it for the future becomes the present, and then it quickly becomes the past. And then trying to update an attraction that costs, tens of millions of dollars every 10 years or so becomes prohibitive and almost impossible. And that's how you end up with rides that are almost humorous with how out of date they are. But if you have a tiny little booth or attraction that is, you keep that sort of corporate sponsorship, model, I think that could go a long way to making these entertaining little things. And you could work games into them, and you could work skits and just all sorts of fun stuff that you could work education into. But by making them these smaller booths at innovation, by being shorter experiences, it's easier for younger people to like sort of absorb them and enjoy it. Oh, wow, this is the green screen room. Yeah, that could probably, this whole post show could probably use an update too, while we're talking about things that could use an update. I mean, green screen was an amazing technology back when this ride opened, but it's anybody could really do it at home now. So yeah, I've just been thinking about it. It's like, I think Future World right now is suffering from a bit of a, what would you call it? Identity crisis. And I don't think Disney knows what it's supposed to be. And I think they're sort of teetering on this edge where they kind of want to change it up. And you can't do it a little bit at a time. If you're going to do it, just do it. I say bring Inside Out to the Imagination Pavilion. Bring Guardians of the Galaxy to the Energy Pavilion. Bring something to the Wonders of Life Pavilion. Please just bring that pavilion back. I mean, come on. It's used like periodically for, I think, like the Flower and Garden Festival. It's just such a waste of space. I think Mission Space can use a bit of a rehaul. I just don't think it looks very good. I don't think it's very fun. I think at the very, very least, come on, guys, you own Pixar and ILM now. get the video work inside those ride vehicles to look a little bit better, because right now they kind of look dumpy. It's like really old 90s CGI. But yeah, and then just really put that focus in innovations. Make innovations a place just worth going to again. You know what I mean? Right now, I feel like most people just walk through it. And I know they closed some of All Thrills, so perhaps that is what's going to happen. They're going to do something in there. My fear is that they're going to do something like similar to Disneyland, where they like turn it into like a Marvel Stark Expo thing, which, I mean, on its own is a pretty neat idea. But again, I feel like there should be some remnants of the original Epcot saved. But I guess we'll see. Again, the big question's like, when are they going to do it? You know, like they've got all these other plans in the works. I was just there last week, and it's amazing how Disney World, at least in my opinion, has become like a 2 to 3 day experience because so much is closed right now. So I'm imagining they're going to want to get some new things open before they go ahead and close other things. Or they just, you know, while their box office is doing really well, just bite the bullet and close everything all at once, and then maybe park attendance goes down and then it bounces back up once all the stuff opens all at the same time. I guess we'll see. But that'll be like all after Iger leaves. It's such a weird... It's not a typical thing, I think, for a CEO to leave setting up a down point knowing that it'll eventually return in an uptick. But that's just like boring business talk. Wow, we're going through the whole queue here. We waited in line for this. Wasn't so bad. This is a fun attraction. You know, we had been to Disney a couple of times with Kat. I brought Kat. We did a day in January, and then we did our trip in June, and then here in August. It was our third time going to Disney this year. And the first 2 times, whenever we looked at the line for Seven Dwarfs, we were like, not worth it. It's an okay ride, not worth waiting nearly an hour for or over an hour for. And I told her, you know, we're going on this big trip in January. There'll be plenty of time. We'll get a fast pass for it, and then we'll go on it there. But this trip, we just decided to bite the bullet and wait in line. We had time to kill. We had gotten there really early. It was only like a 45-minute wait. And she really enjoyed it a lot, like more than some of the other attractions there. And, you know, as far as a roller coaster goes, it's not the most exciting roller coaster. It is sort of like a little more tame than I would say Big Thunder Mountain. But what it lacks in thrills, it makes up for in theming with the, you know, hi-ho part in the mines, and then that little post-ride area when you're waiting to deboard where you see them dancing in the house. I mean, that sort of stuff's really cool. And the ride vehicles are really cool, and just all of it's really neat. While we're talking about refurbs and things I wish they would refurb, how about taking out the Tomorrowland Speedway? Put something else there. Maybe, so some people have joked about or said that, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy should be in Tomorrowland rather than in Future World, and they should put it there where Test Track is. I don't think that would ever happen, because I think having a sci-fi roller coaster right next to Space Mountain, a sci-fi roller coaster, would be too redundant, and I think it would make Space Mountain look bad in comparison, because you'll have this new modern roller coaster versus this really old roller coaster. But they should do something with that space, I think. I don't know. It's just my opinion. I really like how these servers have been using like the animated armor stands to do animatronics. It's really awesome. I almost wish there was like another video game. Like Minecraft has been an amazing tool for recreating Disney. Obviously, we go on all these different servers. We explore them all. We see how they, year after year, continue to upgrade the detail and just like the fidelity of the show itself. But it almost makes me wish that there was another game with a little more visual fidelity that's as easy to use as Minecraft, so that like people can create Disney on a more realistic visual scale. Whoa, do we really go over a bridge like this? Oh yeah, we do. Man, I've already forgotten how this ride works. Maybe there'll be a Minecraft 2 in a couple of years, and it'll have curves or something, and you know, everything will look better and bigger, and we'll see. I mean, I'm sort of impressed at this point. I've looked back at some of the older videos of like MC Magic, back when it first started, and just the level in detail that changed over the years is incredible. Look at that. They're all dancing there. Uh-oh. I didn't know that the witch was there. Oh. And there we go. That is the one time in my life I'll get to ride Seven Dwarfs Mine Train with absolutely zero wait. Boom. And we're off. Let's head on over to Liberty Square. I know they're still working on the Haunted Mansion, and I know that because I was going to do another, I think next week's video will probably be another Disney side-by-side with the Haunted Mansions. But I want to see Liberty Square a bit. It's a nice little back part of the park. One really interesting thing about the experience on our last trip was we passed up a lot of fireworks. Normally, like at the end of the night, we try to hit up some fireworks show, whether it's like Wishes or Illuminations. And both times or both nights of the 2 night stay I was there, we just decided to skip them so we could go do more rides. And we caught them as we were doing different things. So, for instance, Illuminations we got to see as we were on test track, which was really cool to like speed out on that track at night and see the fireworks going off. It was like really awesome. And then we immediately after Illuminations rushed out of there, got on the monorail and headed over to Magic Kingdom because there were extra magic hours. And we decided to skip Wishes so we could go get on Splash Mountain while the line wasn't too bad. And so we were walking back by Frontierland. Yep, they're working on their Haunted Mansion there. And we were watching Wishes as we were walking basically from the hub to Splash Mountain. And what you don't see from going back from, or I guess from staying up front and looking from Main Street in the hub, is just like how they use perspective tricks to like make things flatter. So for instance, you know, when you're standing on Main Street looking at the castle as the fireworks going off, it looks like the fireworks are going off like right behind the castle. But if you go to like Frontierland, like over here basically, you'll see that like the castle's over there behind that tree somewhere, right? And the fireworks are like way back there. There's a large distance. And according to Christine, the distance is even further if you're watching from like the Contemporary, from the top of the Contemporary. It's just a cool illusion that they know everyone's going to be watching from the front of the castle, and that's sort of going to compress space. What's going on? Was I trapped? Nope. Okay. Just a little lag spike there. Speaking of Splash, if it's open, we'll ride it. That'll round out our day at the parks here. This evening at the parks. I wonder, it's nighttime now. If we went back to the hub, would the flag be gone? Does it like automatically go away? That'd be pretty interesting. Splash was a lot of fun, although when we were down there, we saw a bunch of people stranded on it. It had broken down. They had to evacuate the ride. That sounds like such a scary word. They had to evacuate it, as if there was like a bomb threat. It just meant that it was broken and they couldn't get it fixed again, so they had everybody leave. It wasn't that serious. But there was one boat that was just out of reach of a platform, and so they were stuck there. And it was like 100-degree weather, and the sun was beating down, so they gave them all umbrellas, which was really nice of them. And then I took an Instagram of it, and I made a joke about people trying to avoid getting wet. And a lot of people took it seriously, and I realized it's the internet, and you need to clarify when you're joking sometimes. All right, let's see. It looks like Splash is open. So let's ride a little bit of Splash Mountain, why don't we? What else is going on in the world of Disney World news this week? It's all minor stuff. I saw a lot of aerial photography of Pandora over in Animal Kingdom. Summon your log. Here we go. I feel like I should have gotten in the front. There we go. Let's go. Off we go. A lot of aerial photography of destruction of all the parks. That's pretty cool to see all of that in the works. Not much else, though. I mean, attendance has been down this year, and I'm really curious as to see how they approach that for 2017. It's been down for a number of reasons. It's, you know, and they're all unfortunate and not really fun to talk about. You've got things like the Zika virus down there that people are worried about. You had incidents like the young boy who got Attacked by the Alligator. You have the shooting in Orlando. Like, just a lot of stuff that's drawn people from staying away from Florida. And it has affected the attendance. And usually on the plus side, when attendance is affected, Disney tries and takes measures to bring it back up. And that's where we saw the birth of things like free dining, which is really nice. And if you could grab that, you know, it's free food during your stay. Or just like, you know, more extreme discounts on hotels. That's what I'm personally hoping for. I'm hoping we see some nice January deals, because that's when I'm going. And right now we're planning to stay at like Port Orleans, but I would really, really like to stay at one of the monorail resorts, like maybe a Polynesian or a Contemporary, maybe the Polynesian. But that'll take some really nice annual pass holder discounts. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm holding out hope. You know, it's one of those things where it's, from a consumer standpoint, when it's bad for Disney, it's good for us usually, because they try and get people to come. Especially, you know, a lot of things are closed, so it's a shorter stay sort of deal. The hope and, you know, concern is that they don't do anything drastic, because they are a publicly traded company and they have to worry about stock prices. I really like that splash effect there. We don't want them thinking that because attendance is down, they need to like cut costs, and then, you know, the quality of the parks gets even worse, and then attendance gets even worse, and then it becomes this whole snowball effect. You know, it takes a leader to say, look, this is temporary. We're going to do things to fix it. Sometimes we got to spend money to get through it. And they're a big company, and, you know, I think they'll be fine. Are those birds? Are those bird heads? What's going on? Someone had a really good idea for how they could retheme Splash Mountain, and I forgot what it was. I don't remember if it was Zootopia, or was there was some recent movie where everyone was like, yeah, you know what, is that supposed to be up or down? I'm sorry if it's supposed to be, I think it's supposed to be down. Zootopia, I think, might work for Splash Mountain. Yeah, you could retheme it. Retheme the interior, so rather than going through nature, you're going through, like, actual Zootopia and all the different parts of the city. And I don't know what the log flume would technically be, but it would be some sort of vehicle. I'm going to put these back up. Everybody goes and closes those things whenever they can. I'm trying to think of what could you make the log? Maybe like a car or something. I mean, keep the water, obviously. Log flume ride. Maybe a boat? Just a boat. Maybe just like a speedboat or something going down a river through Zootopia. Is there a river that goes through Zootopia? I don't know. It's all made up anyway. They could just retcon it in there. And then boom, you're all good. I think that'd be pretty fun. People would be angry. If there's anything I learned from Tower of Terror news in my video, it's that people do not like the idea of taking a considered classic and retheming it, but you got to do it. I try to think of some of the rides I really enjoy, like Test Track, and how I wouldn't have had that ride if, you know, they kept the classics and like it was still World of Motion, or Buzz Lightyear and you know, Delta's Dream Flight. Like, sometimes you got to get rid of a classic to do something new and exciting. What do we got going on here? What is that part? I don't remember what part any of this is. This all seems scary. I don't remember any of this. Oh, is this where they get caught? This is the big drop? No, we go down again? Oh, we go down again. Wow, Splash Mountain's a long ride. Hello people. I've been starting to think about what I want to do on my January trip, both in terms of for the channel and for myself. For the channel, I think it's just going to be more vlogging. I don't know if I'm going to do another montage again. It's hard to do that because there are only so many really nice shots you could throw together of Disney World before it gets repetitive. But I do like vlogging a lot. I like telling the story of our trip through vlogs. And so I think I might pick up the camera that Christine has, which is a really good vlogging camera, and ditch the iPhone for vlogging, which has been pretty shaky, and just do more of a focus on that. Maybe even leave the DSLR at home and just bring that one and just record a ton. But beyond that, I don't know. I don't think there's a lot channel-wise I'd want to do outside of that. Maybe record a couple of shows to post on the channel. I really just have been thinking about how I want to experience things differently. You know, when you go to the Disney so many times, you can only do it so many different ways before it starts to get repetitive. And so I think there are certain restaurants like I want to go to that I haven't been to in years and years and years. Like the Garden Grill comes to mind, or like, I don't know, Japan. I've never eaten at the sit-down restaurant at Japan. I want to do that. Or maybe not Canada. I've eaten at Mexico. I don't know, just eating at different places. I was just thinking about this as we were leaving the 50s Primetime Cafe on our trip. Right next to it is, I think, Hollywood and Vine, and I've never eaten there. So I want to eat there. I want to go on some rides that I maybe haven't been on in a long time. Trying to think of what ones those are, actually. No, I think I've been on pretty much all of them. Tom Sawyer's Island. I haven't been to Tom Sawyer's Island since I was like a kid. In January, I'm going to Tom Sawyer's Island. Watch. Now they're going to... they're going to announce it's closing or something. Here we go. Here we go. Let's see what they do for the splash effect here. Boom. Oh, nothing. I thought they were going to do that water thing. Oh, well. So, you know, it's about mixing things up. Hopefully by the time we go in January... Main Street Electrical Parade will be gone. My dream and wish is that what will be there is Paint the Night, but I guess we'll see. Oh, only got one of them down. Interventions. Maybe I'll go to Interventions. I don't know what's going to be open there at that point. But I figure if I'm going to have a stance on like that needs to change, I should probably have experienced it. There's that like House of the Future, like things like that really are boring and not good anymore. And there's probably so much more opportunity. You know, they own Maker Studios. You could probably get a couple of cool YouTubers who have a focus on like science. Okay, I don't think they're part of a Maker, but what if you got like a Vsauce to do, like there was a Vsauce booth there that taught you about energy, and you had Michael here and he did a whole thing on energy. Like that would be really cool. And I think that would connect with younger people a lot more than, you know, whatever's there now. Some of all thrills, or that there's like a garbage and a storm thing. I don't even know anymore. It's been nearly a half an hour and I feel like I'm tapped on things to talk about Disney wise. With the new... I'll take this moment to plug my new podcast. If you haven't seen the video last week, Christine and I have started a Disney podcast called the Tomorrowland Transit Authorities. And it is a 20 to 30 minute weekly podcast where we talk about all things Disney, whether it's, you know, our trips upcoming or past, whether it's about news, rumors, history, listener questions, stuff like that. It's just going to be sort of a catch-all Disney podcast. You could find it on iTunes. You can find it on Google Play. You could find it on Stitcher. You could also, if you just want the RSS feed, you can find it on its website, which is ttapodcast.com. And if you want to send questions to the podcast for us to talk about or topics you want us to address, you could tweet at us now. The show has its own Twitter account, and it's at the TTA Podcast. We're really excited to do this. It's something people have asked for. It's something that's been on our mind. We're just getting into it. It's a lot of fun to do, and hopefully, you know, you get in on the ground floor, and it'll be a blast. Beyond that, I also do a video game podcast with my buddy Kelso called Kelso and Rob Unboxed, or I think we just technically call it Unboxed. And you can find that on Unbox Podcast. That's all about video games, though. Very little Disney talk there. Here we go. And this has been a day in the parks. You know, wander around. If you want to check this out, the information's in the description below. It's MC Parks. They just put out the new Magic Kingdom here in Disney World. Some rides still in the works, but some brand new here. There's a lot more detail. I could definitely see it just walking down Main Street. A big difference. I think one thing that MC Parks does that I like that sort of stands out from other servers is I don't think they aim for one-to-one scale. I think they sort of, and I don't know if it's intentional or otherwise, but it sort of has this larger-than-life feel where everything's sort of scaled up. And walking down Main Street, it actually made me feel a little bit like a kid again because everything was so much bigger than I know it to be from the real Main Street. And like I said, don't know if that's intentional or not, but it's a pretty cool effect. You can check it out in Minecraft. Have a great week. Whatever you're doing, make the most of it. If you want to tell me in the comments below what would you want to see in Innoventions? That's our discussion point this week. I feel like there's a lot of great space there to do something cool, and I want to hear what you all have to say about it. Again, have a great week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time for the next episode of A Day in the Parks. Bye, everybody.
Bob Iger calls you up. He says, we're re-theming Rock and Roller Coaster.
Dude, this is just
Different band, same concept. What band?
Enya. Oh, that's a very long.
Enya. Oh, right. We've had this conversation in private.
Before.